Lieutenant General Richard Newton. He's here with us right now live. You served as Assistant Vice Chief of Staff for the U.S. Air Force. So again, in light of your perspective and your experience, we know the reports of these two captured has yet to be confirmed, as I mentioned with Nick. But the White House National Security spokesperson, John Kirby, saying the U.S. would do everything they could to get them back. What exactly would that look like, since we do not have boots on the ground right now?
Well, good morning, Adrienne. As Nick laid out, it is a developing story. And yes, the United States will not leave any American behind. And I think that is going to probably play out here. The challenge we have is we have, thousands of foreign fighters, and these two men appear to be part of that group, are now fighting on the side of the Ukrainian military and so forth. But first, what we'll see, what the Americans will see now in terms of this particular situation is diplomatic efforts, I'm sure, will play out. But before we even get there, we've got to confirm that they are indeed captured, that they're indeed captured by the Russian military. It could be other groups that are participating in the conflict in support of Russian forces and so forth. So right now, the State Department particularly is trying to really unravel this in terms of understanding exactly their conditions, where they are, in terms of the potential opportunity to bring them back through diplomatic channels and so forth. So it's going to be a very challenging and difficult day for us to kind of piece all that out.
There's a difference between challenging and deadly. Russia recently handed down death sentences to 2 British citizens and a Moroccan citizen who were fighting with Ukraine. Worst case scenario, what would the U.S. do if Russia repeats these consequences for Americans captured in Ukraine?
Well, that certainly raises the stakes, and the fact that they have, publicly said put death sentences on the freedom fighters that you just mentioned. But let's step back. Also, John Kirby has said it very clearly, as well as the State Department. Again, U.S. citizens should not have a call to arms to go fight in Ukraine. It's unsafe. That we lose control in terms of our citizens traveling over there. There are other ways that American citizens can support the Ukrainian people, not to be compelled to go over and to take up arms and so forth, because as we've seen right now, the stakes are raised very highly because of the fact that you've got 2 Americans reportedly now in the hands of Russian forces. And so what is a very tactical level situation has raises down to the strategic level. And so it raises the stakes of U.S. involvement that is unnecessary. Okay. But our hearts and our prayers go out to the families of these two men that, again, as Nick said, and we both agree, we will not leave anyone behind. So it's a very challenging time, very difficult time. And I believe what you'll see is Washington, D.C. will quietly engage Russia and try to figure out, where these 2 Americans are and how we can resolve this quickly, safely, and get them home.
That'd be interesting to do, considering the number of sanctions the U.S. has issued on Russia, rather. Now, I've got to ask you this question. Americans were told to stay out of Ukraine. For these exact reasons, would the capture of Americans trigger the U.S. to enter direct combat, do you think?
It would not. And I would support that position, because if we now engage because of 2 Americans who, through their own volunteer efforts, joined the fight, that will really compel, again, the opportunity, as we've talked about many times on this show, that will escalate tensions, that will escalate U.S. position when exactly we're trying to de-escalate and keep it de-escalated. It's a very difficult situation, but there are back channel avenues that the United States can use. There are opportunities for dialogue with Russia and so forth, but this is not going to play out in the next 24 hours. This is going to be a matter of days, if not weeks, Adrienne. So there'll be more on this, but again, we need to keep our thoughts and prayers with these 2 Americans and their families and so forth. But what we can't do is we cannot put the United States in a position where there are strategic implications in terms of the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. And therefore, if we have any thoughts at all in that regard, and we don't, but if we wanted to compel ourselves to get involved directly in this particular situation, that would escalate tensions, that could escalate the conflict most unnecessarily.
Lieutenant General Newton, thank you so much, as always, for being with us. We have to get to some more break. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.